Was there anything that PS3 offered during development that 360 wouldn't have?
No, not really. For the most part, I mean, they're very different consoles in terms of the way they're architected. But they're equally powerful machines. They just have different ways of going about doing it. So for us, it was just the time necessary to take this big, huge game that we've made and then bring it over to a different console.
So my next question would be about how easy it was for you to work with the console.
For the most part, the difficulty of bringing the game to PlayStation 3 is due in large part to the fact that we have a pretty complex, demanding game. I mean, it's this big, huge world that lets you go wherever you want and do whatever you want. So, a lot of it is just, it was difficult to do for a 360. It was difficult to do for a PC. It's a tough game to get your arms around and working right. And because we already had two versions out there that had sort of a known level of performance, we had this sort of mantra, if you will, of it's got to run as good as, if not better than any other version. Because if it's lesser than that, it doesn't reflect well on us. It doesn't reflect well on our abilities for PS3. So we said it has to absolutely be as good, if not better. And I believe we've done that. It loads really well. Frame rates are good. The graphics look great. So I think we've done a really good job.
And obviously, you're talking about the fact that you've had extra development time to push this forward, and with the new visual kind of upgrades to it. Would you say that the PS3 version is perhaps the version that you always wanted to make?
No, I don't think I would say that. I mean, honestly, we really try to have whatever game we make consistent across all platforms. We're very much opposed to trying to play favorites, and are very careful about that. We want the game to run as well as it can possibly run on every platform we do it. And so when you play Oblivion, regardless of what platform you play it on, that the experience is the same. You get a consistent level of quality, a consistent level of performance. So, Oblivion is the game we've always wanted to make, and we've always wanted to make it available on as many platforms as possible. And bringing it to PlayStation 3 for us is a big deal because it opens up the game to a whole new audience that we haven't, exposed the Elder Scrolls to before, and these folks haven't had a chance to play it really. So.
And obviously, you're talking about the load times with PS3 using the Blu-ray format. Mm-hmm. Was that the main advantage of using Blu-ray?
No, honestly, for us, whatever the media is, the disc or whatever, tends to actually be a bottleneck for us. And one of the reasons we use the hard drive, and on the PS3 we use so much of the hard drive, same as we do on 360, same as we do on PC, is we need to be able to cache and stream data off the hard drive and not just off of the disk. That's true for any platform. So, for us, the PS3's hard drive is a huge boon, and we make a lot of use of it. It's 4-point-something gigs of space we end up using on the hard drive, just because you get this big seamless world that you can go from one edge of the world to the other on foot or on horseback, and we have to be able to stream that world into you really quickly so that you can't outrun the cells that we're loading in. So, what the Blu-ray really allows you to do is for games that use a lot of cutscenes or use really large types of media like that, where you're doing really big pre-rendered HD files and lots of them. There's tons of space on the Blu-ray. With Oblivion, it's never been our thing to do big cutscenes in the Elder Scrolls. We tend to do stuff in-game and in-engine, so we don't take as much advantage from that as other games are and will.
And obviously, as you were saying, you use so much of the hard drive. But obviously, you've installed Knights of the Nine. Mm-hmm. That's included in the disc.
It comes with the original game, right?
Was there a decision about memory made not to include the rest of the downloadable content?
No, the decision not to include the other downloadable content is really because Knights of the Nine was designed to work where if you start a new game, it fits nicely. It's a new faction, and you can leave the character creation dungeon and go right to Knights of the Nine, and it fits well with the rest of the game. Anything else that we've provided really tends to unbalance the game. It's you spend a lot of time in the game earning enough gold to be able to buy a house or multiple houses. So just giving you your own Wizard's Tower or your own Vial layer kind of runs against what the game is all about. So it felt better to include Knights of the Nine. That was the purpose for which it was designed, which is new stuff for the PS3, and to leave the downloadable content as downloadable content that we can look at releasing later.
So you're looking towards downloadable content on PS3?
Yeah, definitely. We want to do it. The game itself has to get to a certain point before you can start testing how the downloadable content works with that game and testing it. So we're just now starting that process. We've been looking at it, and we'll be able to make some determinations going forward, hopefully before too long, but to let folks know when stuff's coming out, which ones are going to be made available, that kind of thing.
So Sony started talking to you then about the way they're going to run their network?
Yeah. I mean, we have a pretty good idea of what's required of us to make those available. It's more about us needing to test it with our game and make sure that it works properly and functions properly.
So can you kind of confirm that PS3 games will be getting Shivering Isles?
Yeah, I mean, we said that we plan to make Shivering Isles available for PS3 and plan to do it this year. We're just not entirely sure how and not entirely sure when. So we were talking about two products, neither of which are completed yet. Shivering Isles still isn't done. Oblivion PS3 isn't done. So getting this one to work, which isn't done yet, with this one, which isn't done yet, is a bit of a chore. So we need to wait until both of those get finished and then look at how we're going to integrate one with the other and how we're going to make it available. So once we get, our primary objective is getting Oblivion PS3 out the door, getting it done. That's still no small task, and so we don't want to lose focus by worrying about what we might make available for that version later. If we don't get that one right, then we've got problems.
And I mean, obviously you're talking about it not actually being released yet, and Shivering Isles still in development, but with the audience that's going to come to PS3 version of Oblivion and extend the Oblivion audience anyway, do you think Bethesda have any plans to push forward with more downloadable content after Shivering Isles, or?
We have plans for one or two other downloadable things that we haven't released yet that we would be putting out. After the PS3 version would be out, after Shivering Isles is out. So, again, the issue there is, number one, the downloadable content that we're working on isn't done, and the PS3 isn't done. So it's another thing that those have to go through testing like all the others to see how they work with PS3 and whether or not we could do them.
Can you give us any hints to what we can expect?
One of the ones that we've been working on is a fighter stronghold. So it's in the same vein as the Thieves' Den, the Vial layer. It's been worked on for a while, and we're pretty confident that one's going to be done and ready to go. Part of the issue for us is we have ones that we've done and sounded great and have worked on, some further along than others, and we killed them because they weren't good enough, they weren't fun enough, we didn't think they were good enough value. So we do try and be careful and thoughtful about what we put out and how good it is.
With downloadable content, it's really a step forward for consoles in that it could possibly open up a whole avenue of things, like with PC gaming and indie gaming. Microsoft obviously released the XNA system. Now, Epic have told us that their Unreal for PS3, Unreal Tournament, will actually support the use of mods. Is that something that Oblivion might be able to do in the future on PS3?
Probably not. Only because the way we allow people to alter the game is drastically different than what anybody else does. You don't see many other people allowing you to alter the game that you're currently playing and add or remove things from that existing game. And that's what we allow folks to do with the construction set. We're certainly not going to go back and completely redo that tool so that it does something less than it currently does. So that's really the big issue for us, is that you can change anything with that tool, and making that available to folks on the console has, you can very easily break your game. You can delete all sorts of stuff from the game that you actually need, and so I think you'd have to be very cautious about us or anybody allowing users to put out stuff where they could be introducing unwanted elements into anybody's game. And you can undo them, but it's still an annoyance. And you get enough people out there who don't know what they're doing, putting content out, and next thing you know, you got a big headache on your hands. So,
would you ever think about a new downloadable content pack, for instance, with like the Adventurers mod in and little things like that for the console market?
You mean user-created stuff?
Yeah.
No. I mean, honestly, there's a very big difference from our perspective from when we do stuff and when fans do stuff. We have some very talented, very creative fans who do really cool and interesting stuff. But honestly, if something they do breaks the game, it's not really that big of a deal. Like, they can go back and, oops, I didn't, let me fix that, and here's a new version of it. If we do that, or if we release something that does that, we're officially releasing something that breaks our product, and that's a big problem. So we spend an inordinate amount of time just on QA for anything that we do. Testing every type of character you might have, all the different stuff you might have done, just making sure that nothing we introduce in our mods breaks anything. So we really aren't going to get into starting to moderate the fan community and picking out which ones are the best and going through and QAing their stuff and fixing the parts of their mods that may or may not break the game. It's just, again, it gets very messy. I think that stuff is great for what it is. It's something that the PC folks can look forward to and experience. But on the console side, honestly, it's not like our game lacks for content. I mean, there's 500 hours of gameplay in there. So if after 500 hours you still find that you want to do more and you're bored, then probably by that point we'll have another game out that you can play.
Obviously, the PS3 version you've got today doesn't make use of the 6-axis controls. Was that something that you looked at and then decided not to do, or was it never going to be?
No, not really. It wasn't really anything we seriously considered. I mean, we're pretty adamant that once we get a game that's done, so to speak, once we get all the game systems locked down and working properly and bug tested, going back in and changing a control thing to say, okay, now not only do you have to track everything the controller's doing, but now you can start doing this and you have to account for all that. You're just introducing a lot more into the game, and the process of porting it and making it available for PS3 was a big enough chore as it was. We weren't looking to add in new variables that we had to keep track of and fix as well. So it wasn't really something we ever seriously considered for looking maybe for a future game.
Do you think it's an interesting feature, this motion-sensitive game?
I don't know. Only because I haven't had a chance to play it with enough stuff that really takes advantage of it in a way that kind of is unique and different. So I think it's an interesting concept. I know that I'm a big fan of the rumble feature. I think it works well. It always has worked well. It's something that I personally enjoy in games that make use of it well. So whether the 6-axis can be that same level of entertainment and enhance the experiences, I think still remains to be seen.
How soon are you planning to bring the new visual enhancements back to 360 PC?
Probably not too long. I mean, we'll probably end up doing it before Shivering Isles comes out. When you say visual enhancements, that's probably a bit of an overstatement. There may be one or two that we did for the PS3 that we could also do for the 360 that aren't platform specific, but the vast majority of stuff that we did for Oblivion PS3 is for the PS3, and the way the PS3 works is very different than anything else. So it doesn't really translate to take optimizations and things you've done for the PS3 and then try and make that available, on the PC. That just it doesn't work the same. So there may be one or two things that we've done that like with shaders that work on any platform that supports that shader. But beyond that, there's not a ton of stuff in the PS3 that would be used.
Meanwhile, of course, you're working on a PSP version of Oblivion. Have you any chance of giving us an idea of how that might work?
No, not really. Honestly, the PSP version is something we're not talking a whole lot about. It's still getting worked on and thought out, and I think we prefer to wait until it's a little farther along before we talk more about what it looks like, what it plays like, what it's all about. So we're going to kind of stay silent on that a bit.
Is there any possibility that the PSP version, because of the similar kind of hardware, might be ported across to PS2 as well?
No, I don't think so.
And again, blue sky, but do you think there's any chance of a Wii version
of Oblivion? No. I mean, the Wii is pretty different from the 360 and the PS3. I mean, Nintendo said that they, as much as they weren't going to compete really on trying to have the most powerful box, they were going to focus on the user experience and this different way of experiencing games and interfacing with them. So on the one hand, the idea of doing Oblivion on that box is a really cool idea and something we've talked about a lot. But there's not much in the game that we've released or about to release on PS3 that would be applicable to the Wii. It'd really be something that you pretty much have to start over and redo specifically for the Wii. So we don't have any plans at present to do that. There's a lot of big Wii fans at Bethesda, so I know that that's a platform that we will be taking a serious look at down the road for anything that we might do that's a good fit for it. But right now, Oblivion is not part of that.
So where next for Bethesda? For Oblivion?
We got to get PS3 out. We got to get Shivering Isles out. And then we'll probably need to throw a little party to celebrate because it's been a lot of work into both of those projects. And then really everybody that's not already on Fallout 3 is going to be moving to Fallout 3. So that's our next big role-playing game.
And Fallout 3, you're looking to release sometime in the future?
Yes, sometime in the future we will be releasing Fallout 3. That I can confirm.
An MMO?
A Fallout MMO or an Elder Scrolls MMO?
Or will Fallout 3 be an MMO?
No, we don't. We were very clear about our rights to Fallout are specific to a role-playing game that does not include anything to do with an MMO. That's not what we're working on. That's not really any interest.